Hi guys, my name is Cornelia and I'm working as a recruiter, and I've been working as one for the last 3 years and a few months. I started this channel because I wanted to help people that struggle finding a job by giving them advice in terms of what they should say during interviews, how they should construct their CV, how they can look for jobs in an organized manner, and so on. Today's topic is a follow-up on my interview series, because today I wanted to speak about behavioral questions, which are a type of questions that a lot of interviewer and hiring managers are asking during the interview. We will speak about what are behavioral questions, what you should say and what you shouldn't say when you are asked this type of questions, and at the same time I'll tell you what's the reason behind the interviewing telling you that. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like. Let's begin. Let's get into the first topic. What are behavioral questions? So, they are questions that invite you or invite the person that is asking these questions to share real life experience that they had prior to that moment. For example, they can ask positive things from your life. Tell me about a successful project that you've done. Or they can ask about negative things from your life. For example, they can ask, tell me about a stressful time at work. How did you deal with it? At the same time, these questions can target soft skills and technical skills. In terms of technical skills, they can ask something within the lines, tell me how you can use pivot tables in your work. And then you can give them an example from your life or from a project that you have where you tell them how you use pivot tables or any other skill. Second, I wanted to speak a little bit about the reason behind why the interviewer is asking this. And this is because prior behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. The story that you choose to tell when you are asking this question will give the interviewer an idea in terms of your communication skill, leadership style, the way that you take decisions, the way that you deal with difficult problems, the way that you communicate with your coworkers, and so on. So yeah, please choose wisely how you are going to respond to this question, and at the same time try to end in a positive note, either in a positive note in terms of success of that story, or in a positive note in terms of things that you've learned from that if the outcome was bad. The interviewer is asking this because they just want to see how you reacted before, or how you would react in certain situations that are related or relevant to the activities of the job that you apply for. This leads me into what you shouldn't say before speaking about how you can construct this answer before the interview. The first thing that you shouldn't say, and the worst one, is saying that you've never experienced that and you stop there. And I'm saying that because the interviewer wants to see how you think or how you would act in a certain situation, even though you've never experienced that before. They want to see, of course, if you have experience with that, but if you don't, they would like to know how you would react. If you are asked to respond to a behavioral question or to a situation that you've never been in before, you can either say a story about similar situation in your educational background or professional life. For example, if they are asking for a successful project and you never worked before, or you never had a successful project at your previous workplace, you can always say something from your educational background. You can tell them about your bachelor thesis. And the second way that you can respond to this is to say what you would do if you were in that situation. And here, mostly, all you need to do is do an imaginary exercise and tell them how you would act if you are going to be in that situation in the near future. The second worst thing that you can say is things that end up bad. If they are asking, tell me about a time when you have a conflict with your coworker, or tell me about a time where you failed at work. The worst thing that you can do is to tell the story and then end up on a bad note. Even though the story most likely will have a negative outcome, you need to finish that on a positive note with the things that you've learned from that situation, or the things that you should do different if you are to be in that situation ever again. For example, if you are going to tell them about a time that you failed at work, you can tell them the story of the project that you failed, and then tell them the things that you've learned. So you learn to plan better. You've learned to set your objectives within a realistic timeline. You've learned how to collaborate with your worker better, and so on. And now to the last part, and in fact the main subject of this video, is how to respond to this type of questions. As I said, they imply that you need to tell them a certain experience or a certain situation in which you were before. You need to tell them the task that you need to do. So what were your responsibility? What have you done to resolve those responsibilities that you had? And at the same time, you need to tell them the results of your actions. The best way to remember this during the interview is thinking about the STAR method. This is an acronym for situation, task, action, and results. In terms of the situation, first you need to take the interviewer into that context. You need to share them as much details as you can so he can understand the context better. Then you need to tell them the task that you have. So basically the responsibilities or the things that you were the owner of and you needed to resolve as quick as possible. Then you need to tell them the actions. So basically the plan that you've made or the things that you've done that led you to the results. And of course, in the end, you tell them about the results, if they were positive or negative. And as I said before, if they were negative, you need to follow up with things that you've learned from that. So I had to recruit Python developers for certain companies. As there were a lot of open positions, we needed to pay attention to all the requirements and the difference between the job specs of each role that we were responsible for. We had a few clients that wanted a Python developer that also had experience in machine learning, data analyzing, and so on. And I find this guy, he was great. He had a lot of experience working as both data engineer and Python developer. But because of these hybrid responsibilities that they had, my manager thought that he wasn't really a strong Python developer. So he wasn't a strong candidate that we can present and move forward to our clients. My task here was to recruit candidates good for our clients. But my subtask here was also to convince my manager that the candidate that I found was a good fit for those few roles where the client wanted a Python developer with experience in data analyzing, engineering, and machine learning. That's why I started making a plan on how I can convince my manager to let me present that candidate to our clients. The first thing that I've done was to read the job description of those roles and to underline all the things that were similar to the responsibilities that the candidate had in their CV. Then I called the candidate and I asked him a lot of other additional questions about his experience, with what tech stack he worked, what were his main responsibilities, what was their side responsibilities, and so on. And it turned out that he actually was a Python developer that only had a few tasks to help the data engineering team. Because his company had a machine learning model, he worked within machine learning a lot during his last role. So yeah, with all of these things in mind, I went to my manager, presented to her all of the data that I've gathered about his candidate experience and about his fit for the roles that I was responsible for. And yeah, at the end, she decided and we agreed that he was indeed a good fit. This is the result of my action. I convinced her that he was a good fit. We forwarded that candidate to our clients and he got a few interview requests from them, which was a success. This means that he was a good fit for them. This is a way that you can respond to this question. Of course, there are a lot of behavioral questions. If you want, you can find them on Google. I've just Googled behavioral questions on interviews, and here is the first site with all the questions or possible questions that an interview can ask. If you have the time, of course, you can prepare an answer for all of them, but at the same time, you need to think that an interviewer can ask, I don't know, 10 to 15 questions in that interview, and he needs to assess other skills that you have as well, not only past behaviorals that you have. So yeah, they can ask things regarding your motivation, values, and so on. And I think it's best to prepare a few answers for questions within those areas as well. And you really don't need to only focus on the behavioral questions that an interviewer can ask. So yeah, this is all from my side. I hope you have some things to learn from this video. And yeah, if you have any other comments or any other questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you like this video. And yeah, good luck with your job search. Bye.